Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of After the Buzzer. Now, let me tell you, today is probably the best episode because we just watched the best game that we've seen. It's arguably all season, definitely all playoffs. Like I said, arguably for all season. But we have to start out with the Blazers and Nuggets because what game other than the Blazers and Nuggets would we talk about? Damian Lillard with at least a top three offensive performance of what I've ever seen before. Maybe Devin Booker's 70-point game at number one, but this had to be top three. 55 points. He hit what? He hits Damian Lillard. He hits 12 threes. He was extremely efficient at 55 points. It was, I think, Michael Jordan was at number one for the most playoff points in a loss. I think Michael Jordan was number one, probably Donovan Mitchell number two. I think had 57 against the Nuggets last year, and then Damian Lillard with 55 against the Nuggets. So the Nuggets getting the W over two of the top three most points ever put up in a playoff loss. So shout out to them. But it went to double OT. The Nuggets ended up hanging on as they just couldn't really get a shot in double overtime to fall. And the Nuggets ended up pulling on by 7, 147 to 140. Obviously, an extremely high game if it goes to double OT. And listen, the Blazers. Everybody's saying free Dame and stuff, but he's got pieces around him. You've got Nurkic, you've got Carmelo. Carmelo. He's only going to be for a couple more years. You got CJ McCollum, you got Norman Powell, who they traded for, and off the bench you've guys like Anthony Simons and Enes Kanter, and you also just traded for Robert Covington this past offseason. There's not much else you can do for that guy, but of course there is other things that you can do. But like, you have another all-star potential player, you have another all-star caliber player in CJ McCollum, and you have great supporting guys in Rocco and Carmelo and Norman Powell and Yusuf Nurkic and Enes Kanter off the bench with Simons and but. I think that this team just they cannot get past the first round, and we saw a couple years ago they were able to push their path to the Western Conference Finals, but after that it just hasn't really been working out. They've been the 8th seed consecutive years. They finally move up to the 6th seed, and they're playing a team without their second best player with Jamal Murray, but still it just won't even last. Jokic had 38 points. Michael Porter Jr. did step up, had 26 points, was efficient. Austin Rivers was on target today again, 18 points. And Monte Morris was really on fire today too, had 28 points off the bench, was second most with the Nuggets. But listen, this game was just incredible. Best game of the playoffs by far. And we'll love to see a rematch just like that. But the Nuggets do lead the series now 3-2. It's going to be interesting to see how Game 6 pans out, whether the Blazers can force 7 or the Nuggets can just end up moving on in 6. But I think we'll go on to the next most interesting game of the series of the day. Lakers and Suns. Now, the other two games were blowouts between the Celtics, which the Celtics have been making moves today by staff. But we're gonna have a what's next for each team series going on. I think probably starting with the Miami Heat and moving on with the Celtics. But the Celtics just completely destroyed them. They beat them by, if I do the math right, 30 points. No, wait, 30 points. Devin Booker with another 30-point performance. He's been nice. Chris Paul did get injured again. He only played 23 minutes, but he still had 9 points and 6 assists. Mikal had 13, and then off the bench, Cameron Payne was really, really nice with 16 points. He's been doing really, really good in these playoff games. But yeah, the Suns completely destroyed the Lakers. Keep in mind, the Lakers obviously did not have Anthony Davis for this game. It was a groin strain. I think right now he's day-to-day, questionable for game number 6. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, whether he plays or not, because I think that there's a chance that if he doesn't play, then that can cost him the series. But LeBron right now is averaging like almost 40 points in elimination games. I think he's averaging like 38, 11, and 11 in elimination games. So even if this series does go 7, I think it would have to be just because Devin Booker did not play good, because I really don't see the Suns team losing 2 games in a row to this Lakers. I mean, they did earlier in the series, but I don't really see it on the brink of elimination. I don't really see them losing a Game 7. So even if the Lakers do win Game 6, I can really see that the Suns do win Game 7, because even in their lack of playoff experience between D Book and DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges, and off the bench basically everybody other than Jay Crowder and Chris Paul, then I they're still a really good team, and I think that they can beat the Lakers. But with LeBron, if AD is not playing game number 6, it's gonna be a struggle for the Lakers to beat this really really good Suns team. But other than that, we can head on to the next game. The final game of the day was probably the least interesting one. The Nets and Celtics. Now, so by the way, no Jason Tatum jersey will be bought by Huddy today. That's good, because I bet my friend that if the Celtics won 2 games in the series, I would have to buy a Tatum jersey, but they only won 1, so I'm chilling. But yeah, the Nets end up winning, and they move on to the next round. I think Bulls and Nets, sorry, not the Bulls. The Bucks and Nets will be playing their first game on Saturday, so that'll be a really, really fun series to watch. But JT put up 32 points. He kind of struggled from 3, but he couldn't. He has no help around him. Like, the second guy with the most scoring points was Evan Fournier with 18, and he was 1 for 5 from 3-point range. I mean, I don't really think anybody expected the Celtics to really win the series with Jaylen Brown being out, and then the loss of Robert Williams too, and Kemba Walker has been out for the past 2 games. Same with Robert Williams, like I said. But mainly the loss of Jaylen Brown. It's been hurting the Celtics on defensively and offensively. And then you had Kemba Walker on the offensive end and Robert Williams on both the offensive end and defensive end. It really hurts having 3 of your starters out. But because Jason Tatum can't do it all. But even if with all those guys playing, it would have been a much closer series. But I really think in the end of Brooklyn, no team can really beat Brooklyn, especially this Celtics team that lacks in defense without Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams. So their big 3, of course, did all the work. James Harden with 34, Irving with 25, and Durant with 24. Nobody really off the bench is doing anything. Nicholas Claxton has been really, really nice for them lately. He had, hold on, I want to see this quickly. He had 4 rebounds, but then he only had a block. But I think the other night he had like 4 blocks. So he's been a really, really nice piece for them on the defensive end, because we know that their team lacks in defense a lot. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that could happen. I think the Suns now lead 3-2. Could the Lakers tie it up? I think only if Anthony Davis plays, they will have a chance. Even if AD plays, I really, really do think that the Suns can win this series in 6. Nuggets now lead 3-2. Can the Blazers 4-7, or will the Nuggets, without their second best player, being Jamal Murray, lose the game? Win in 6. And the Nets end up moving on. The Celtics are eliminated. And right after they're eliminated, Danny Ainge steps down, and Brad Stevens is now the president of operations. Who can the Celtics hire? Who is interested in the job? Could it be a guy like Lloyd Pierce or Jason Kidd or Chauncey Billups? It's gonna be fun to watch who they pick up, because Brad Stevens, obviously he wasn't even too bad, but I guess he was worn out from coaching, he said. But that will wrap up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. By the way, if the mic sounds off, it's because I'm on right now using my iPad, because the adapter broke for my mic. So we're gonna have the normal mic coming again tomorrow. It's literally right here next to me. So yeah, if the voice sounds off, then that's probably why. But that will wrap up. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.